Many Terrifier fans are asking themselves, what the heck is going on in that sequel? There's a little ghost girl that apparently resurrected Art the Clown from the dead. Sienna's dad has some kind of mysterious connection to him, as well as having this blade that brings Sienna back to life in the film. And the biggest question of all is, what the heck is Art the Clown? What even is he at this point? In today's video, I have done way too much research to try to come up with some sort of answer. So let's just get into it right now.
Gobble, gobble, mother.
So before we get into this, there's something I want to preface this entire theory video with. What I'm about to present to you is my leading theory as to what I believe is happening in the Terrifier franchise and things that may get resolved in the next film, coming out on October 25th of next year. I have absolutely no idea if this is true or not. I just rewatched the movies like a lot and did some research on what Damien Leone has said about the film and some cut scenes. There's a lot of little information and tidbits we're gonna get into in this video. But honestly, if Terrifier 3 does not confirm any of these things, I don't really care at all. I love how mysterious Terrifier 2 is and adds to the mystique of who Art the Clown really is. It's no fun when we get all the answers. The more unknown something is, the scarier and more interesting it becomes. So although you may want those answers, it's that drive for wanting the answers that keeps you coming back for more. So this mystery starts to unfold first and foremost with the little pale girl. Portrayed by Emily McLean in her first acting role ever, the little pale girl is truly one of the most mysterious elements to the Terrifier franchise thus far. And my god, she has a disgusting introduction. But in these opening moments of Terrifier 2, we actually learn a lot about the character without even really realizing it. First and foremost, we know that she's a ghost that can only be seen by a select few. Within the movie, the only people that actually see her are Art the Clown, Sienna Shaw, and Jonathan Shaw. You'll remember that random guy sleeping at the laundromat just saw a bloody clown completely naked playing patty cake with himself. That sounds really gross out of context. It also appears as if she's the one that's going after Jonathan and Sienna, not Art the Clown. She's only leading him to them. Damien Leone himself confirms this too.
People know that there's a supernatural entity that has brought Art back from the dead and sort of drives him through this entire movie and actually guides him to you and Sienna and puts him on this mission.
Later on in the film, when Jonathan and Sienna are looking through their father's sketchbook, they come across newspaper articles specifically about a little girl who was killed on the circus grounds. Most likely the same circus we see later on in the film, where Art the Clown is still residing. This newspaper article, written by a Wes Torrance, reads, "A grim fate was in store for a young girl after a celebration at the town carnival this Halloween." Halloween, as we know, is when Art the Clown likes to strike. 10-year-old Emily Crane to the right, which is also a picture of Emily McLean, was last seen alive cheerfully roaming the carnival grounds earlier Friday evening. As the night progressed and the attractions closed, family members grew concerned as to her whereabouts. Several carnival goers worked alongside family and friends to search for the young girl, which came to an end shortly after it began. Crane's lifeless, mangled body was discovered in a makeup trailer just outside the main event grounds. Taking a pause for a second there, you may remember a sequence in Terrifier 2 where Jonathan Shaw wakes up in a makeup trailer where the little pale girl reveals herself to him and she's all mangled in the face and disgusting. My guess here is this is Art the Clown's first victim, which is why Art keeps seeing her and is the one that is sort of this weird guardian angel. But there's more to it than just that. Continuing this article, it says Crane was the daughter of two prominent circus performers, whose family also includes a long line of very popular, well-respected circus acts, mimes, and similar talents. Unfortunately, a thumb is blocking some of the rest of the article, but if I had to guess what it says, it's suspected that her death may be linked to a series of murders, and it trails off after that. Okay, so I have a bunch of big questions after that. Obviously, Art the Clown comes from this circus, most likely the same one we saw at the end of Terrifier 2. But who actually are Emily Crane's parents, and how is Art the Clown related to them in some sort of way, as we learned from that previous news article? I've seen a lot of people theorize that maybe Art the Clown is her father. I think maybe somehow he is related to her, but one thing is for sure, we have met her mother already. You might remember the cat lady from Terrifier 1 who was carrying around a baby doll claiming it was her own daughter. What was her daughter's name? Emily. So what I'm assuming from this is after Emily died, the cat lady, formerly her mother, went insane, picked up a baby doll somewhere, and became a homeless drifter, which is really sad and depressing if that's true. On top of that, in the first Terrifier film, Art the Clown is actually like swaddling the baby at one point, and then Art the Clown and the cat lady share a wholesome moment together. Not really though, because y'all know how that ends. But is the little pale girl actually the soul of Emily Crane? I would say no. The way that Damien Leone talks about the little pale girl being this supernatural entity, I just don't think this is actually Emily Crane. I think that it's maybe the devil, bear with me now, taking the form of Emily Crane so that it can influence Art the Clown. Now, if you thought this video was a stretch to begin with, oh, it's only gonna get crazier, because I also believe that Art the Clown, including other characters in the Terrifier universe, have been infected with some kind of demon virus from hell. It was confirmed by that news article earlier that Emily Crane is 100% dead, but there is a character that was victimized by Art the Clown that did not die and actually survived her attacks. That's Victoria Hayes. Now, before the events of the original Terrifier, Victoria Hayes was just this normal college girl who was vibing on Halloween night when she had to go pick up her sister Tara. After getting her face mangled by Art the Clown, though, on that fateful night, she slowly starts to lose her mind and become a killer herself. I think that Victoria Hayes was infected by the same thing that happened to Art the Clown, maybe way before the events of the first two films. The other thing I should note is that Victoria Hayes' one eye glows yellow, just like the little pale girl's earlier on in Terrifier 2, just like Art the Clown's eyes from the original Terrifier short film. All of these entities, I believe, are possessed by whatever this demon virus is. Now, where did I get this idea of some kind of Evil Dead style demon virus thing from hell? In an interview with ComingSoon.net, Chris Jericho, who's featured in the after the credits scene, talks about how they had to retool that entire ending because a recent horror flick beat them to the punch. The quote reads, "That scene was actually a lot longer, which led to the actual ending of the movie. Another horror movie came out in the same time frame over the last year. They had the same ending, so we had to recut it and reshoot it. So it was actually a longer scene than that." During a Reddit AMA, Damien Leone was asked to clarify Jericho's statements. While he didn't outright say the exact movie that mirrored his original ending, Leone name-dropped the director of the project, which made it a lot easier to connect these dots. He says, "They didn't steal our idea, we just happened to have the same one. It may or may not have had something to do with a recent James Wan film." And the most recent James Wan horror flick is, of course, Malignant. If we're talking about directing and not producing, of course. Atomic Monster pumps out horror flicks like it's nothing. Spoiler alert for Malignant if you have not seen the film, but at the end of that movie, it's revealed that Annabelle Wallis's character is secretly the killer the entire time, but without her knowing, because she has a sentient tumor in the back of her head that comes out and kills everybody in the film. So Terrifier 2's original ending was probably going to be Victoria Hayes getting a tumor in her brain that would be Art the Clown growing out of her. If that doesn't scream some kind of viral infection, I don't know what does. Tumors are also a theme in Terrifier 2, considering that Sienna's dad was also suffering from one. This lends itself to a really crazy backstory for Art the Clown, who was normal and just a human being at first, who might have somehow conjured up a portal to hell, which then infected his mind, and then everything that happens in the movies happens, because if you're infected by a demon virus, you're going to be chaotic evil at best. So just to recap, Art the Clown was just some guy in clown makeup who conjured up a portal to hell, got infected with an Evil Dead virus, infected other people in the Terrifier franchise, and now has the devil who's manipulating him in a quest to stop Sienna Shaw for whatever reason. That leads us to the next chapter of this video, though, talking about Sienna's father. How was he involved with all of this? You'll remember that sketchbook we were talking about earlier was Sienna's father's, which Jonathan had kept all these years. It had newspaper articles about what was going on with Emily Crane. It had pictures of all the deaths that happened in the previous film. There was a lot of mysterious things introduced here. The other thing we learn about Sienna's father, which once again backs up the whole demon virus thing, is that he had a brain tumor that made him abusive and crazy. He then did this to himself by driving into a substation. So what I think happened is Sienna's dad helped Art the Clown open this portal to hell. They both got infected, and Sienna's dad had to stop himself the only way that he knew how, because he knew what was going to happen. Maybe because he was infected too, he was able to see the future and see like what the demon's plans were. I know this is getting ridiculous, but I'm telling you, there's got to be something here. That's how he was able to figure out that Sienna was some kind of big player in this evil game. This leads us to the biggest misdirection of Terrifier 2, though. In their father's sketchbook, there's a picture of Sienna cutting off somebody's head specifically. I would argue it's not Art the Clown's. Look at this drawing. That's not Art the Clown. That looks like some kind of evil demon. If this was supposed to be some prophecy like what happens in Evil Dead 2, for instance, we would have seen an exact one-to-one as to what happened. But this is not that. That's not Art the Clown. What I believe is Sienna Shaw is prophesized to stop this demon, the devil, whatever it is, that is the little pale girl. She's the real antagonist of these movies. Art the Clown is just a pawn in their game. That's why the little pale girl wants to stop Sienna. Art the Clown is just chaotic evil, like we were talking about earlier, he has no goal. He just enjoys killing people. Now that is the full scope of the theory, but let's say all of that is true for just a second. If it is, there's a few things that have to happen in Terrifier 3 that may be pretty sad and upsetting. First and foremost, Jonathan Shaw is a goner. Just like Victoria Hayes in Terrifier 1, Jonathan Shaw survived some pretty awful things in the back half of Terrifier 2. He got slashed and whipped like 100 times by Art the Clown, but he also got his fingers bitten off at one point. Not only is that so messed up, but I believe Jonathan is infected with whatever Victoria Hayes and Art the Clown have. My prediction now is that Jonathan Shaw is going to look like a clown by the time Terrifier 3 ends, just like their ghost mom during that one weird scene in Terrifier 2. I'm also predicting that Sienna Shaw is like this chosen character that has this destiny of taking down this evil entity, whatever it ends up being, and that's going to be your climactic end to the Terrifier franchise, if we get that in 3 or maybe 4, that Damien Leone has teased before in recent interviews. So that's the crazy shit that I believe is going on in the Terrifier franchise, but what do you guys think? Leave me something about this crazy clown in the comments below. Thank you all so much for watching this brand new Terrifier update. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more crazy theory videos like this. Please consider supporting me on Patreon by clicking that link in the description below, and as always, don't forget to kill it out there, y'all.